All right, and welcome to day 2 of dividing polynomials. All right, so for the first example, this one's going to be a little bit different than the ones we've done before. And the reason for that is if you look at the polynomial on the inside, it's missing the x term. There is no x term. So when you're missing a term in dividing polynomials, you have to fill it in with a 0 term. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So you're going to do 2x plus 3 divided by, and then you would have 4x squared. And then what comes after x squared? Well, an x. So it's missing the x term, so you would just add in a 0x. All right? Then you would keep your minus 9 at the end. So now we can go ahead and divide them. So we have to figure out, okay, how many times, or we're going to have to go ahead and do 4x squared divided by 2x. All right, and that's going to give us our number up top. So that's going to give us a 2x. So we're going to put a 2x up top. Then we're going to go ahead and multiply our 2x by our binomial that we're dividing by here. So we do that and we get 4x squared plus 6x. All right, now we're going to go ahead and subtract. Remember, when you subtract, you have to distribute that negative. So what you end up getting when you distribute that negative is a minus 4x and a minus 6x because the signs change, right? If it was a positive 4x and a positive 6x, when you subtract them, they are now negative. This goes away. We end up with a negative 6x. We're going to bring down our negative 9. So now we got to go ahead and do negative 6x divided by 2x. And when I do that, I get a minus 3. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply negative 3 times 2x plus 3. So we end up with a negative 6x minus 9. And then we have to go in and subtract. So when we do that, we distribute the negative. It becomes a plus 6x and a plus 9. So we end up with plus 6x plus 9. So we end up with a remainder of 0. So our answer here would be 2x minus 3. Since there is no remainder, we don't have to add anything in on the end. All right. Now, one thing for number 2, I did make a little error here, so sorry. There should be a squared on this x. So go ahead and add a squared on that x. Sorry about that. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and do our division. Same way we've done it before. So we take our 12x to the third power. We're going to divide it by 2x. So again, I took my first term, divided it by this first term, and I got a 6x squared. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply this number by this binomial. So I end up with a 12x cubed plus a 6x squared. All right. So then we do a minus. All right. We distribute that negative sign. We switch the signs of everything, so we get a minus 12x cubed and a minus 6x squared. So we end up with a 14x squared. We bring down our 11x. We do the same thing over again. So we do 14x squared divided by 2x. I get 7x. So I'm going to do a plus a 7x. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply my 7x by my binomial. So I get 14x squared plus 7x. And then I'm going to go ahead and subtract. So I'm going to get a minus. This guy is going to become a minus. I get a 4x. Bring down my 2. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and look. I'm going to do 4x divided by 2x. And I get a 2. So now I'm going to multiply the 2 I just wrote in by my binomial. So I get 4x plus 2. I switch the signs. So I get minus 4x minus 2. Everything cancels. I get a remainder of 0. So my answer here would be 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move this down so we got a little bit of space here. All right. So now we got our last one here. So we're going to go ahead, do this number, divided by this number. So we get 24x cubed divided, oh, I'm sorry, p. Whoopsies. 24 p cubed divided by 8p. That is going to give me a 4p squared, or 3p squared, oh my goodness, 3p squared. So then I'm going to go ahead and multiply my 3p squared in my binomial. So I'm going to multiply this guy with this guy, and I get a 24p squared and a 24p cubed and a 9p squared. So then I'm going to go ahead and change my signs because I'm subtracting. So I get a minus 24 and I get a minus 9. So then I end up with a 48p squared. This guy goes away. I'm going to drag my 74p down. And then I'm going to do 48p squared divided by 8p. And that's going to give me a 6p. Then we're going to go ahead and multiply 6p by 8p plus 3. So we end up with a 56p, or I'm sorry, goodness gracious. We end up with a 48p squared and a plus 18p. So we switch our signs. These guys go away. We end up with a 56p. I'm going to drag down my 19. This is our last round. So we're going to do 56p divided by 8p. And that is going to give us a plus 7. So then we're going to go ahead and multiply our plus 7 with our 8p plus 3. So then we end up with a 56p and a 21. We switch the signs. These guys cancel, and I end up with a negative 3 as my remainder. So the answer here, the final answer, should be 3p squared plus 6p plus 7. And then I'm going to do a minus 3 over 8p plus 3. So I did my remainder over my binomial. So that would be my answer there.